First, let's look at the question, which taxes will I have to pay? In this section, we'll talk about the taxes that many businesses must pay. These include business and occupation tax, public utility tax, retail sales tax, use tax, and litter tax. We'll also go over the additional taxes that businesses with employees must pay. These include unemployment insurance tax and workers' compensation premiums. Nearly all businesses located or doing business in Washington must pay the business and occupation tax, commonly called B&O tax. The B&O tax is a tax on the act of engaging in business. The B&O tax is divided into more than 30 classifications, which are based on the type of activities conducted by a business. You'll need to find out which classification or classifications you must report under. It can be more than one. But don't worry, most of the 30 won't apply to you. The most common classifications are retailing, wholesaling, manufacturing, and service and other activities. For a complete list of classifications, look for the link at the end of this presentation. Be sure to know if your business activity falls under retailing. Many businesses that should be classified as retailing mistakenly don't report under that classification. Later, they find out that they owe sales tax, which they did not collect from their customers. If you are unsure if your activities would be considered retailing, you should call the Department of Revenue for clarification. Many services, like installing, improving, and repairing, are retailing activities that need to be reported under the retailing classification. Again, you can get a complete list and description of B&O classifications from the link at the end of this presentation. Some businesses pay the public utility tax instead of B&O tax. The public utility tax is a tax on public service businesses. These are businesses that engage in transportation or the supply of energy, natural gas, or water. Often a business will pay either the B&O tax or the public utility tax. However, sometimes a business will have to pay both. If your B&O classification is retailing, you will also need to report retail sales tax. Retail sales tax is a tax on the sale of tangible personal property to a customer who plans to use it for himself. Retail sales tax is also charged on many services. A few examples include construction or installation services, repair services, landscape maintenance and lawn services, physical fitness services, and recreation services. These are only a few examples and not a complete list. Here's how retail sales tax works. The customer pays the tax to the business, and the business reports it and sends it to the state when they file their regular business tax return with the Department of Revenue. Use tax is a tax on the use of goods or certain services in Washington when sales tax has not been paid. Use tax is due if you buy goods in a state that doesn't have a sales tax, like Oregon, or in a state that has a lower sales tax than Washington. If you buy goods from someone who is not registered to collect sales tax, like buying a piece of furniture from a garage sale or art from an individual collector. If you buy goods out of state by subscription, over the internet, or from a mail order company, and you didn't pay Washington sales tax. And if you receive personal property with the purchase of real property, an example would be receiving equipment when you buy a building. Another tax you may have to pay is the litter tax. Litter tax is a tax on manufacturers, wholesalers, and retailers of certain products that contribute to Washington's litter problem. There are 13 categories of products subject to the litter tax. A few examples of these products are food for people or pets, cigarettes and tobacco products, newspapers and magazines, and glass containers. You can find the complete list of products from the link at the end of this presentation. So, the taxes we've covered up to this point: B&O, public utility, retail sales, and the litter tax are all administered by the State Department of Revenue. They are the basic taxes that most businesses pay. Now let's look at the taxes you'll need to pay if your business has employees. If you have employees, you must report and pay unemployment insurance tax. The unemployment insurance tax supports the program that helps workers who are unemployed by no fault of their own. The program is administered by the State Employment Security Department. If you have employees, you must also cover your workers with workers' compensation insurance. This insurance guarantees that a worker who is injured on the job will have their medical costs paid and receive partial reimbursement for lost wages. You purchase this insurance through the State Department of Labor and Industries. You can also purchase workers' compensation insurance for yourself and any other owners of the business, but you don't have to. So, if your business has employees, you must pay unemployment insurance tax and workers' compensation premiums for these employees. But what if a person doing work for you has a business of their own and you've hired them as an independent contractor? You may not need to pay unemployment insurance tax or workers' compensation premiums for independent contractors. It is important to note that Washington State's definition of an independent contractor is different than the IRS definition. Some independent contractors by the IRS definition would be covered workers under Washington state law. This means they would have to be covered by Washington state unemployment insurance and workers' compensation even if they own a legitimate business. To find out if someone performing work for you is considered a covered worker in Washington and requires workers' compensation and unemployment insurance, you can go through a short checklist. We'll give you a link at the end of this presentation. Your unemployment insurance and workers' compensation accounts will automatically be opened when you file your state master business application and indicate that you plan to hire employees. If you have an existing business but plan to add employees, you need to refile the application. To indicate you plan to hire employees, check the Hire Employees box in Section 1 and fill out Section 5.